What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Nimble Nimbus, and we are finally back on the bike after a very long hiatus. I want to start this by apologizing that the previous channel had to get shut down just because there was no traffic going on, and my lack of attendance on that channel really did not make it any better. So we're probably starting from scratch over here. My name's Nimbus, and we are in the Pacific Northwest. Your boy loves riding his MT-07 on a regular basis. I've owned her since brand new, since I think 2 miles on the clock, and she's been my favorite investment of the last 4 years so far. I wanted to at least reintroduce myself, say hello again because it's been a long time, and kind of walk you through everything that's been done on this bike. Now this, like I said, is a 2022 Yamaha MT-07 Cyan Storm. And I decided to pick this bike because I got to try out one of my buddy's MT-07, they were called FZ-07s back then. He had a 2016 FZ-07. I tried it and I was like, you know what, this might be the bike for me. And at the time, I had owned a 1998 Honda Super Hawk. That was a little bit too much bike for me. Very torquey, like kind of as torquey as this, if not a little bit heavier. But it was a leader bike and it was too much for me. So I decided to part ways with that bike. And about a year and a half later, I decided to buy this. And here we are. So I wanted to walk you through everything that I've kind of done. Let's start with the cosmetic stuff. This used to have a livery on it made by Cutvec. I had to take that off recently, unfortunately, because of the clear coat. It was starting to turn brown from being in the sun all day, every day. And that's probably because I ride on a regular basis. This is a 22 model and it already has, what, 20K? I think I'm about to roll over to 20K. 19,951 miles. So your boy kind of has a lot of seat time on this bike. But I did have to let that livery go, unfortunately. You know what? Sometimes you gotta part ways with things to move on to better things in life. She's stripped back down to Cyan Storm Gray. I don't know what my plans are for the aesthetics right now on the actual paint, but obviously there are a few key things that I've done to this bike. The Yamaha tuning fork logo has been changed to a blackout matte back with orange logos, and it actually matches the orange that are on my wheels. Both of these stickers are made by Hooligan. They give you an option for wheel stripe kits and all of that fun stuff. I found these arrows and they look really cool, and I turned that into kind of a double feature. Not only is it an accent on my wheel, it actually points directly to my valve stem. This way I know at any given point, quick glance, boom, where the orange stripe is, that's where my valve stem is. Let's talk about safety, specifically sliders. Up front, in the middle, and on my swing arm is a full slew of Evotech sliders. We've got fork sliders, frame sliders, and spool sliders. Now, I don't think anybody really plans to down their bike, but in the unfortunate event that it does happen, I am at least prepared for some protection. Underneath me, around the engine, and around basically the whole bike, is an XK Glow XK Chrome motorcycle LED kit. Now, what's special about this kit is, yes, you can set it to just one color and have it just solid and whatever, but it is app controlled and you can change it to, you know, millions of different colors, or whichever color you would like. But it has a really neat feature in the control box. You can run bank 1 and bank 2 sides for your wiring so that you can have 2 different colors at any given point on this bike. Furthermore, if you decided, hey, you wanted colors on the left half or the right half, you can do that. Colors on the top half, bottom half, you can do that. But they have 3 auxiliary wires onto this control box, and it gives you the option to wire those in with your inputs on the bike. So say, for example, you're turning and you have your turn signals on, the entire half of that bike will turn on. However, the downside to this is you cannot run 2-stage colors up and down. You can only run 2-stage colors left and right. Remember how I said there were 3 wires into this box? That 3rd wire you can tap into your brake lights, so every time you hit your brakes, the whole bike flashes red, and it is fantastic. I've absolutely loved this feature because it makes people aware of what your inputs are at any given point. It gives you that custom look when you have these LED lights on, but at the same time, it also gives you that massive safety feature boost. Let's talk about all of the Yamaha OEM accessories I've got. It's not very many, but I'll tell you about them. We have a Yamaha front cowl. It's a little itty bitty guy. I didn't necessarily want a full windshield because it looks like a brute chieftain. I didn't like the look necessarily of the, you know, the full-on naked, because it kind of looks a little too buggy. Don't get me wrong, I love how this bike looks because it looks like an ant, but I didn't like, you know, the nakedness of that headlight assembly. Putting that little cowl on there, you know, cleans it up quite a bit. We've also got Yamaha engine guards. Now, these engine guards, they do not protect you from full-on slides. They will protect you from, like, very slow drops in a parking lot on gravel or something like that. Basically, these engine guards are made of plastic. Underneath that plastic is a hollow section that they have molded a piece of rubber to so that it can absorb any of the impact that you have at a low-speed drop. They look cool. They're more aesthetic than functionality in my opinion, but you know, Yamaha, even considering giving us an engine guard option, is really cool for them. Behind me is a Yamaha tail tidy kit. It is a modular 4-piece system. You can run it with factory reflectors, with turn signals, with a license plate, and or with a license plate light, all of which you can mix and match the combinations however you want. I run it with a license plate holder, the LED holder that gives you that white light, and it's a really nice white that matches the headlight too. I obviously don't run it with the turn signals. I used to when I first did it, but talking about turn signals, I have TST GTR turn signals for the front, and I have TST integrated brake light and turn signal assembly in the back. The front ones have a white LED running light, and the taillight has multiple sequential turn signal options and a flashing brake light option should you desire to do that. Let's talk a little bit about performance here. Underneath my throttle hand is actually an R6 throttle tube. Now, if you don't know anything about that mod, the R6 throttle tube has a more aggressive slope for when you're pulling the throttle. So it basically takes less effort to turn it to full throttle, which is great. It really gives you that extra bottom end gruntiness of the MT without having to, you know, really force yourself into turning the throttle tube. It's really good for getting out of corners, popping wheelies, all that fun stuff. Massive, massive performance increase for something that costs like 20 bucks. Speaking of the tube, I have a set of Scott's branded pillow top grips. Now, in the past, I've had probably 6 or 7 sets of Pro Taper pillow tops. They were okay, but they're not the greatest quality. They were comfortable, but they didn't last very long. I probably had them last 4,000 miles a piece. I got sick of replacing them on a regular, so I decided to try out a different brand, and here we are with Scott. We'll see how long these last. I'm sure they won't last very long either, but they do feel great. They look great, and they come with donut. Up above those, we have some Rizoma style winglet mirrors is the way I want to call them, because they fold in and turn into aerodynamic mirrors. But yeah, they're okay. They're definitely better than bar ends in my opinion, because I can't stand the look of bar ends. And then I came across the Rizoma mirrors and I was like, those are really cool. But I found out genuine Rizoma mirrors from overseas are $500. There's no way in hell I'm spending that much money on pieces of glass. I'm good. So I ended up buying the knockoffs. I found some knockoffs not too long after they released the Rizoma mirrors. I recently just did a conversion that I didn't think I was going to do for a while, because this thing only has 19,000 miles. I for sure thought it was going to be well after this thing wore out. However, I just converted to the Yamaha R7 slipper clutch assembly. Now, if you don't know what slipper clutches are, basically they just help you downshift in a cleaner way without having to mess around with your throttle. No rev matching. I mean, you can rev match and it does make it quite a bit smoother, but the difference is if you were trying to downshift without rev matching on a clutch that isn't made for slipping and a clutch that is, the difference is night and day. Anyway, slipper clutch, fantastic upgrade. I absolutely love it. Yamaha, you guys should have made an MT-07 SP edition with all the R7 goodies, including the suspension adjustment. I forgot to mention, by the way, I have a Yamaha OEM comfort seat underneath my butt. This is a fantastic upgrade for anybody that wants comfort out of their MT-07. The stock seat is fine. It'll let you get into town, but if you really want to like go and enjoy an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour long ride, you want a comfortable seat, and the factory seat is just not it, fam. I'm going to tell you that right now. Most people end up going to aftermarket like Corbin. The only downside to that is they're like 3 or 4 times the price of a Yamaha OEM comfort seat. So I pulled the trigger on the comfort seat and I have had 0 complaints. It is like one of those really easy, you know, bolt-on kind of mods you can do that is fairly reasonably priced and is really comfortable in comparison to the stock seat. I don't know if you can hear it too, by the way. This does have an exhaust. It is an IXL L3XB hyper low exhaust with the baffles removed and titanium heat wrapped. This exhaust sounds fantastic to me personally. I truly believe, after hearing so many MT-07s in person, that this is the only exhaust that has the deepest, gnarliest grumble when you are getting onto the throttle. Most MT-07s out there run Yoshi's, SC Project, whatever they end up running, they're just loud. Don't get me wrong, the CP2 sounds phenomenal no matter what exhaust you throw on there, but I personally love exhausts that have a very bassy punchiness to it, and that's definitely what I get out of this IXL Hyperlow. Ah, such smooth downshifts with that new clutch. But anyway, guys, that's it for me for this video. I just wanted to reintroduce myself and say hello to the world of YouTube again. Hopefully I'll do better at uploading content this time around, and hopefully no more life problems from here on out. I will catch you guys on the flip side. This has been Nimble Nimbus, and I'm out. Peace.